Welcome to the third part of this Let's Build, to the fourth part, sorry, the fourth part 4 of this Let's Build. Yeah, we already did 3 parts. First part was the base frame, second part was this top gantry here, and the third part, which was the last one, was the assembly of the belt system. Pretty much the motors and the pulleys here. To recap a little bit and to give a little bit of insight, what I did off camera to do a little bit of fine-tuning. These belts here had to be aligned a little bit better, so this one was a little bit too far up here, this one a little bit too far down, so I balanced these out. Unfortunately, what was not possible is to get this noise away. I can show you what I mean. I think you should hear it. Let me get a little bit closer. This isn't it? This one. This grinding noise. That noise comes from the belts. They grind against, rub against these pulleys here, and unfortunately, no matter what I did, I could not stop them from doing that. No clue why they do that. I believe that these belts are properly aligned, but somehow they still continue to grind. So I will probably create a small 3D printed part that goes around these pulleys and basically stops the belts from getting up or down on these pulleys to grind against them. But I will figure something out. On that note, I will also figure something out for the track chain mounts to make it a little bit easier for them not to get entangled here. It's pretty darn good now, but I don't trust it to stay this way, especially with continued printing. They might at some point start to sag again, and then it will rub against the belts and may tangle with the pulleys. So that's 2 things I will probably solve with printing. And the last thing that I may not have completely explained is when you move the hot end to one of these sides, here or here, you need to make sure that the rest of the belts here that you leave does not interfere with the pulleys. So don't make them too long or they may get stuck there. There's also a third part I'm probably going to make, but I will explain this later, which has something to do with the end stop here, which I'm not particularly happy about how I solved that. So what we used last time were the motors, the pulley assemblies, and in total I believe 8 zip ties, which are all included, so that's a good thing. So let's figure out what the next assembly part is. We finished belt assembly. The next one is linear bearing assembly, which needs these parts. 2 of those, 4 of the linear bearings, which are here. Four. Two of these. And these one are for later. Then 16 M412 screws. I believe they are in package A if I'm not wrong. M412, yes, this is right. And M3 by 8. M3x10, so not these, but M3 nuts, no, and M3x8, yes, this one goes away. So these are the parts you need. I will put them here right in the middle. So bolts from screws from package A and screws from package D, as well as 4 bearings and 2 threaded rods, basically. Yes, linear bearings. Okay, then let's get it assembled. This time we won't need the base frame for this, so we'll get this one a little bit out of frame and get this one spread out. And we need to assemble this 2 times the same way. So let's do this. These are all these. Okay, these one need the 12 ones and these one in the middle need the 8 ones, smaller ones. So let's get our calipers out and start measuring which are the right ones. These are the right ones for these. Okay, that's all from package A and package D. Should be M3x8. Pretty much, yes. M3x8. Those are not the right ones. This one looks about right. Yes, that's the right one. 8. Okay. We need 8 pieces of that. Looks about right. 8, 10 pieces. Okay. It's very important to make sure that you use the right screws for the right things, because even if they may fit, you will probably later get a problem with them missing, or worse, you may actually destroy the pre-cut holes, basically. So if you try to screw a bigger screw in there, you may screw up the threads in there. You may strip them. So make sure beforehand that the screws are the right size and the right length. And that's all from package D. So now to assembly. Let's put in these first. Is there any type of orientation? It does not particularly look like that. Doesn't look like it. This should go in here. So as far as I can tell, there is no particular orientation. Whether this is up or this is down does not seem to really matter. At least as far as I can tell, there does not seem to be any real difference here. Though I have the feeling that that is not the case later on. Because the bed has to mount somewhere. And that is done with these ones here. So they should be mounted like this, the bed. I think. And showing it here. No, they are mounted at the end. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So the mounts here don't seem to actually have anything to basically hold. I'm not sure why they even bothered to put them in here. Though they mention that the holes are required to be inside. So it should be like this. But it's only spinning it around, so yeah, well, let's go with it like this. I'm a little bit bothered if things are not completely explained in the manual, and that's one thing. Okay, easy enough. One and number two. Okay. Let's get some gloves here. Some gloves. They are always a little bit oily, so I prefer to wear gloves for them. Let's look into them. They actually look decent. At least no misaligned bearing bolts. Looks good to me, though a little bit dry. What you can do with these bearings would be something like putting them in isopropanol and let them sit in there to remove all the oils and all the grease from them, and then apply your own grease. I will do something similar to that and clean them thoroughly, at least enough to get most of the grease out, and then apply some of my own before inserting them into the rods. The best thing is to use isopropanol for that. It's the fastest and won't damage anything. So okay, that one is cleaned. Okay. And the last one. Okay. That's the cleaning done. The reason for you to do this is basically to get rid of any metal parts that may still be in there from machining these. Usually with high quality parts there are no metal shavings in them, but I had a few bad experiences with them, and since then I'm cleaning them before installing them. The only thing you have to do then is to reapply some lubricant and to give them enough time to dry, and then you basically will have no problem with them. A better thing to do this, if you have a lot of time, you may lay them in a lot of isopropanol alcohol. So like get some Tupperware or something like that, put isopropanol in it and these bearings and let them sit there for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. Then get them out of there, let them dry for an hour or two, and then reapply the lubricant. With linear bearings you can actually disassemble them and get all the bolts out of there and clean them individually. But with these linear bearings, the gaskets here are sealed really tightly, and getting them out may destroy them. So don't bother trying to get them out, because there's a good chance you will ruin them in the process. That's one too small. Okay. One assembled, another one to go. And one left. You don't need to make sure that you screw them down in an X-like fashion, in a cross-like fashion. They should be perfectly fine to just get the screws in, but with things like this, I prefer to do it in this cross-like fashion. So, for example, starting here, then going to here, then here. Okay, like this, and okay, that's good. Get these ones to spec. Okay. 2 assembled out of 2. And the next part is the Z-axis assembly, which requires the base frame, these 2 side parts here, one right, one left, then the Z-axis motors, okay, the bearing bases, which I assume are these, the rods, okay, which is all in this package. Okay. 2 for each side, so one, 2. One, 2. The lead screw. Okay. Then we need more screws. More screws. Okay. We need eight pieces and 4x20. 4x20. Okay, so here. Let's get this oil off my hands first. So then 4x20s. Okay. We need 8 of them. So 4 for each side. Okay, we have that. Then M4x8, which is not in here, but no, not in here either. M4x8, yes, that's the right ones. We need 4 pieces of them. That's a little bit too big. Okay, that's the right ones. Yes. So 2 go here. And 2 for this side. Then we need the shims or washers, which are in this unlabeled package. We need 8 pieces of that. So for each side. Well, this one is partially eaten already. Interesting. And M4 by 40 screws. Let's look at 4 pieces. That's an M4 by 20. That's not the right ones. And 4 by 6. The smaller ones are 30. And these aren't the right size either. Need 4 pieces of the really long ones. Nope. By 20s. See whether this is the right package. Okay. They are M4 screws, okay. And they are 40. But there are only 2 again. Let's see where they are used. Okay, they need to be screwed here. Well, that is really a problem. That would really be a problem. And you're supposed to use a nut. Well, they again forgot some parts here. Huh. But this time they screwed up big time. There are no replacement ones in here. All here. That is a problem. So the M4 by 40 screws are pretty much missing. They apparently don't really know what they are doing in terms of counting enough parts. Because I don't think these ones aren't long enough to actually fit through here. They are way too long for that. That can't be right. They are way too long. I'm probably going to regret it, but I believe this package is the right package for that. I believe this is the right package for them, though that would be weird. Let's see how long they are. They are 20s, 20. So are they used anywhere? M4 20 screws. 8 pieces. They are also used here. Huh. I would guess these ones are for this purpose. I assume. Does not look to be used in here. Those are the long ones. Those are M3 ones. Those are M4 by 6, M5 by 10, M4 by 6. Okay, I guess we will need to figure out how to use these parts instead of what they are actually telling us to use. Because what they are actually telling us to use is, well, it doesn't exist. Funny. But I will try this out later. Let's make a break here. So, welcome back. Sorry, I had to take a short break here because I really was pissed and disappointed that, well, another time the screw is now missing. I searched my entire place and there really is only 2 screws and 2 nuts, even though it says you need 4. It's really disappointing for me. Sorry, there's no other way for me to say that. I checked the online manual and it says the exact same thing. And I checked whether the other screws I found would work, but no, they were missing. It's really annoying. No other way to put it. So, but I thought saying this on camera and getting annoyed on camera is just unprofessional. So I took a short break, got to the nearest hardware store, bought the screws, and well, to be able to continue this build here. But I really am disappointed. There's no other way to put it. Just disappointment, and I'm really angry at that point. Because, I mean, you just have to count the screws. It's not that hard. And it would be one thing if one screw was missing, but multiple things missing, and especially things that are so essential, because without screwing these ones down, these motors, you can pretty much stop the build. So yeah, I got down to the hardware store, bought myself the missing screw for here and replacement screws for all of these, because I want to at least have them to be uniform, to be similar. Got the screws here for these ones, because not only are these ones missing, the ones that are included are way oversized. Like, they are 40 millimeters long, but this extrusion here, this aluminum extrusion frame, is only 20 millimeters thick. So why the hell 40 millimeters? I don't know. A 30 millimeter one would have worked completely without any problem. So I went ahead, bought myself some. They are not fancy painted black, unfortunately, but at least I have them, and they are now the correct size. For everyone wondering, I got 35 millimeters, which is still too long, but I thought perhaps they have something in mind to do with them. So I went ahead and bought those, but I guess the 30mm ones would be fine as well. So let's continue this part, hopefully finish this part, and the next one will hopefully be without any problems like this, like missing parts, and just be easy for change of time. But it really looks like that this whole printer is not something easy to assemble. Okay. Especially these parts cost me like $1.50, something like that. And it's not even that I bought the cheapest ones. I bought the nuts which are self locking. So they have these blue inserts at the end, which prevents them from getting undone, screwing themselves out, basically. So they are the more expensive one, and it's still quite cheap. So why not put an additional one in there? I don't know why. Okay. Funny thing is, this printer had 3 major versions, I believe, and a dozen of minor changes which do not are not visible in the in the title of the printer. So there is the X5ST, which was the first version of this big printer. Then there's the X5SA, which is the a little bit improved version, which has less acrylic parts. And the version I have is the X5SA Pro, which is again the third iteration of this one, which in my opinion is a really good printer based on just the pure specs, and in theory it should be really good, but building it is just infuriating at this point. It's really annoying, for lack of better words. And I doubt that this printer is going to be good enough to actually offset all of these missing parts. This one is hopefully going to be really good, but it's not going to be an SLA printer, let's face it. So well, perhaps I just got unlucky and got one that just was missing a lot of parts. Who knows, perhaps one they just threw together with who knows what and who knows where. I mean, the current situation on the world is not the best, especially because of the global trade being so limited, but still, missing parts is really, really annoying. And if they sell these printers, they should make sure that all parts are included that are required to build this one. And especially things like screws, you won't really call the reseller or the company to send them to you, because a package of one screw from China will take, I don't know, 10 days or something like that. If you get it shipped by air, currently probably even longer than that. And if you get it shipped by, I don't know, train or a ship, it will take a month or something like that. So yeah, what should I say? This part is turning more in a rant about this printer than into something fun. So I'm sorry about this, but well, what else should I say? It's just the way it is. And 4x20s. Let's leave this behind us and continue. Okay. These are supposed to be here. Get this plastic part out. Okay. This. And then the lower part. Oh Jesus. I believe they forgot something else. That's not the way it is supposed to be. Oh man. They really didn't polish this product, did they? You know, there's another problem with this one. These screws here have a total length of 20 millimeters. So the threaded part is 20 millimeters. But these aluminum extrusions are already 20 millimeters. So the screws only go this far. And well, not more than that. So it's not possible. So you can screw them in here at the top, no problem. But screwing them in at the bottom, well, that's not something you are supposed to do, I guess. Even though it's in the manual and you are supposed to use the M4 20mm screws. Well, what should I say about this? I don't know. I don't know. This is even more infuriating than the previous one. I guess I will leave it like this for the time, assemble the bed and get to the hardware store again to get screws that actually work with this one. Well, I would really like to scream out a dozen of curse words now, though I believe YouTube is not going to like those, so I guess I will keep them back for now, but believe me, I'm not happy to say like this. I'm actually really mad. I just try not to show it on camera here and throw a tantrum, because that's not only unprofessional, it will not really bring us further in this build. I mean, it should in theory work without having to get the screws in the bottom in there, though it will wiggle quite a bit. Oh man, this build really is something, isn't it? I guess you could call this Chinese quality control and engineering at its best, isn't it? I mean, the engineering isn't even bad. It's just that it's not really thought through, isn't it? Because the printer isn't badly designed in my opinion, but there are missing parts. There are parts that are too short, and well, there are other things like the belt system that is kind of complicated, the manual that isn't perfect, to say the least. But I will finish this part, go to the hardware store again, get an additional screws for the bottom, hope that this actually is my final trip to the hardware store, and I will rant about it in the review. And we'll stop here with my rant, and we'll stop here with complaining, because that probably is just annoying as hell to you. So, as you have seen, to assemble it, you have to first insert the lead screw, which the easiest way is doing it like this. Screw it a little bit down. It doesn't need to be on the perfectly same height as this one. We will do the synchronization of the Z-axis later on. For now, this is completely okay. We are also not going to add some loop. We are going to add the lubrication later on, because to slide them in, it's no problem, but in actual use you will need it to actually prevent the bearings from wearing down and to make it a lot more smoother and more silent, but mostly preventing it from wearing down way too fast. But that's something we can do when it's assembled, otherwise we'll get the oils and stuff all over our hands, and it's just a pain in the ass. But I think I will get in contact with Tronxy and tell them that their product is in theory good, but there are some things that are missing that definitely need improvement, especially in QC, in quality control, and in thinking the things they produce through, which, I mean, in theory should be something you should always do, but apparently not something everyone does. So, but we have finally assembled the Z-axis to a point where it's actually usable, even though it's not complete, but usable. We will make it usable later on. I will do this off camera and tell you afterwards what I did and how I did it. But for now, this looks acceptable, I guess. The next part of this project will be the control box assembly, so screwing this one down as well as the power supply. I will not wire it completely. I believe this isn't part of it either. This is only the last part. After control box assembly, it's going to be the print plate assembly, the motor for the feeder for the hot end, some end stops, and then wiring. So I guess I will see you next time when I have figured out how to, basically not figured out, but got the screws for the linear axes here, and exchanged the screws here on the side, and I'm not pissed anymore about these missing parts and these well, incomplete parts, because there's nothing mentioned here about these. The only mention here is these ones, which I have forgotten to install, but I will do them as well. Sorry about that. Yeah, I guess we will see next time. We'll see us next time. So, sorry for this depressing version, the depressing part of this Let's Build, but I hope from there on the next, I believe we'll need 2 parts. The next part will be part 5, I believe, and part 6 of the Let's Build, and I hope we can finish it after part 6, which I believe is possible as long as we don't encounter more missing parts and wrongly engineered parts. So with this sentence, hope I see you next time.